2019. At this time, I'd like to invite Reverend Sandra Spaldi for our invocation. Please stand.
God, our creator of all there is and ever shall be, we ask you to guide the light of your wisdom down to our city. We ask that you shine upon our city to grant our council and all the residents all the strength that they need. We ask you to bless our city workers, our police, and our fire department, and all our residents. For this we are thankful. Amen.
Amen. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mayor Scott Tremblay.
Here.
Vice Mayor William Dittmer.
Here.
Councilwoman Jenny Sorrell.
Here.
Councilman Todd McClary.
Here.
Councilman Tom Kinsella.
Here.
City Attorney James Matthew.
Here.
City Manager Vincent Lupo.
Here.
Thank you. At this time, we're going to open with just some comments from the general public to speak on various items, but everyone speaking to Agenda 1, which is dissolution, is signed up separately, so you may only speak to that issue one time. Just so you know, everyone will have 3 minutes to speak. And at this juncture, we're not going to be answering any questions. This forum is for you, the people, to express your opinions, views, and thoughts on what's going on into the city. With that, I'm going to start with the comments from the general public and call Angel Nally to the podium.
Angel Nally, 7726 Graham Boulevard, Port Richey. Council, Mayor, as a charter city, we have not only a voice as a charter city, but we also have a responsibility to govern ourselves by ballot and to discipline when necessary, which I think our city has done very well in this last debacle we've had. The City of Port Richey has done just that, leading up to the removal of our previous mayor and establishing its new mayor and council. We, the city, operated as the established charter we were created to be, inspiring residents like myself to become actively involved on council and committees. Never once did I hear the word dissolution at that time. So I just wanted to say that in my 3 minutes, that the charter was created to do exactly what we did. So I don't understand why this is going on.
Thank you, Ms. Nally. Okay. At this time, we're going to look for a motion to approve council minutes.
Motion to approve council minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we're going to go on to more comments from the general public. The next person that signed up is Russ Coyle.
My name is Ross Coyle. I live at 5531 Pasco Way, Port Richey. I've been at the address for almost 14 years now. Real quick about the city. You guys have all done a great job. We had a bump in the road. The system works, and let us carry on with that. I can't speak highly enough of the police, the firemen, the people that clean up the parks, etc. Everybody's done a great job, and I'm proud of what they've done. Our system works. Now, what I'm really here for is there is a building plan for Kaiser University on the corner of 19 Grand Boulevard, Old Post, and Pasco Way. Pasco Way is the street I live on. There's only, I believe, 4 or 5 residents facing this university, and as the plans are drawn, they show the parking lot is basically facing my house. So every night I'm going to look at 20, 30 cars coming out, and that's the other thing. They have the exit coming out on Pasco Way facing Papaya Street, which is a one-block-long residential street that leads into a one-lane, one-way street, Miles Boulevard. There's 3 commercial streets, Grand, Old Post, and US 19, and the best they can do is to come up with an exit on a residential street. Why? We have a nice little enclave right there. The people take care of their houses, and now suddenly we're going to get inundated with hundreds of cars, students coming out on our property. I would like to see some sort of a barrier, a berm, whatever, foliage. I sit on my front porch, I'm going to be looking at parked cars. You know, take care of the residents. We're the taxpayers. I realize these big businesses come in and there's a lot of money invested in the community, but what about the little guy? I'm the little guy. I hope that you hear me out here, and there's other residents that have written in to the city and requested a little bit of support from you folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Coyle. Next on the list is Pat Rogers.
Pat Rogers, 4838 Sunset Boulevard. Last meeting, I think it was last meeting, you talked about the meeting you had with the county about cooperating with different items. Was Pine Hill Road ever discussed in that meeting as far as repairing their portion of it? Because, you know, everybody thinks it's Port Richey's road that we're not taking care of, but it's not, it's theirs. Can that issue be pushed forwarded? Oh, timing is great, but can that issue be pushed forward in any way to get that road fixed?
You can speak with the county.
County issue. The next person that signed up is Dave Mueller.
Dave Mueller, 5439 Blue Point Drive. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to address you, council, mayor, city manager. We truly have turned a corner. The current management council seem to be on board with trying to move the city ahead, and I appreciate your efforts to do that, especially the new guys that are have recently been seated. One of the things that I'd like to address, and I've brought this up on many occasions, is potentially changing or addressing our city project list and focus more on the efforts that we've laid out in the budget to try to address that list in a timely manner. I know that they have probably 40 or 45 different line items on the current project list. And a lot of these things appear to be more BAU type things that are ongoing and really not necessarily lend itself to the project. What I'd look for is a potential to address some budget items, create a line item for it in the budget, let us know how we're tracking to that, let us know what the timeframes are, when we can expect these projects to be completed, and more importantly, anything that's hindering progress on these projects. I think the current status of a lot of these are not as descriptive as they could be. And I do commend you guys for completing as much as you did, and I believe that if you utilize those items that you really made progress on and clear out some of the mundane things that are necessary, no doubt, but it's not the focus of maybe this report. Appreciate that. The other thing that I'd like to bring up is potential staffing of an accounting director. Like to know where that stands. I know we're currently making payments to a third party that oversees our funds, and the sooner we get that eliminated, the sooner that fee would drop. One other item I identified, we put a dredge item of $300K in the budget this year. And I was just doing some rough math. If we would repeat that year after year after year, we could potentially get a bond issue up of about $4 to $5 million with that same $300,000 annual funding and potentially get after these canals in a major way. And I appreciate you guys taking a look at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mueller. At this time, we're going to move on to comments from our city manager, and I'm going to invite Mr. Lupo to make some comments.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a presentation that we'd like to make concerning the city's finances. Our city's finances became an issue out of nowhere. As Mr. Mueller and this council and many of our citizens will attest, we went through a recent budget process. Our budget was approved, and I'd like to give you an idea of exactly where we stand. Very first folder. Yes, ma'am. This is the Florida Municipal Loan Council. Did a refunding and improvement of our revenue bond series 2016. They refunded $500,000 of series 2005C and $2,615,000 of series 2015D bonds. The par amount was $3,055,000 with a net premium of $79,415 and total proceeds to be $3,134,415. Principal payments through 10/1/2019 series was $685,000. The remaining principal balance at par at 10/1/19, look at that date, October 1st, 19 was $2,370,000. Interest paid through 10/1/19, $265,795. The remaining interest to be paid FY20 through FY 2035 was $652,725. Capital lease E1 pumper fire truck. That matures in December of 2020. This December, that bond will have matured. Balance as of 9/30/18, $89,618. Payments during FY 2019 of $28,949. Balance as of 9/30/19, $60,669. Payments during FY 2020 of $29,863. The balance of on 9/30/20 of $30,806. Payments during FY 2021 of $30,806. Balance as of 12/31/20, 0. Remaining interest to be paid FY 20 and 21, $2,889. The next slide. The total debt outstanding as of September 30, 2019, $430,669. I'll repeat that number since it seems to be in question from somewhere. Total debt outstanding as of September 30, 2019, $2,430,669. Total interest costs to be incurred on outstanding debt was $655,614, with a total savings to the city of $318,597.63. And along with that are the debt service payments, refunding and improvement revenue bond series 2016, all the way through 10/1/2035, the bottom number. And again, before I get on to the very next slide about the CRA, This is a document we just received today. It is from the Florida League of Cities, and I'll take a moment to read this document because it's absolutely important that everyone, even outside this room, understands what it's saying. And it's addressed to the Honorable Scott Tremblay. Dear Mayor Tremblay, the Florida League of Cities Incorporated, the League, serves as the administrator for the Florida Municipal Loan, FMLC, and in my capacity as general counsel to the League, I serve as the counsel to the FMLC. In September 2016, the FMLC issued a total of $24,520,000 in bonds and lent the proceeds to 9 different cities in Florida, including the city of Port Richey, to either refund prior debt or to fund improvements. The city's proceeds from the bond issued, referred to as the City of Port Richey Series 2016, was used to refund or basically refinance 2 prior outstanding bond loans to the city of $500,000 from 2005 Series 2005C and $2,615,000 from 2005 Series 2005D for a total of $3,115,000. The attached summary of refunding results for the 2016 bonds provides the following information. The par amount of the 2016 bonds is $3,055,000. Interest payments on 2016 bonds would be a total of $918,520.42 over the repayment schedule through 2035. The total cost to the city for the 2016 bonds will be $3,055,000 principal amount plus the $918,520.42 interest amount, for a total of $3,973,520.42. Refunding the 25C and 25D bonds will result in a net present value savings to the city of Port Richey of $318,597.63 in interest payments over the repayment schedule. In conclusion, governmental entities often refund prior debt and combine prior debt to take advantage of lower interest rates. For the 2016 bonds, the city's actions resulted in present value savings to the taxpayers of $318,597.63 in interest payments over the repayment schedule. If you have any questions, please contact me, Greg Cohn, Counsel to Florida Municipal Loan Council. This clearly dispels any talk or inferences that the city did anything improper with respect to its refinancing or with respect to its finances. Total of 9 cities involved. That goes to bed. Next slide, please. Some other inferences were made that had to do with CRA funds. CRA use of funds is judged and is in accordance with Florida Statutes 163, Part 3. Money in the Redevelopment Trust Fund may be expended for undertakings as described in the Community Redevelopment Plan, including but not limited to, I'll repeat that, including but not limited to administrative and overhead expenses. redevelopment planning, surveys and financial analysis, acquisition of real property in the CRA district, clearance, preparation, relocation of occupants, repayment of borrowed funds, all expenses related to bonds, other indebtedness, development of affordable housing, community policy innovations. That puts to rest any inference that this city is using CRA funds improperly or unauthorized and illegally. Nowhere is there any, should there be, any statements concerning improprieties of utilization of CRA funds. We are governed by Florida Statute 163, Part 3. We have never deviated. The City Council, acting as the CRA, has public meetings. Everything is done in the open, including our budgets. The utilization of those funds is dictated by that CRA board, and we follow that. Personally, as the city manager, I attempted to change some of the structuring of the funding within for specific purposes. I did not appreciate nor did I concur in the utilization of some of those funds with respect to administrative costs, and I've, over the last 3 years, continued to reduce it and will continue to do just that. CRA funds are used within the letter of the law and within the spirit of the law as of today and in the past. That's all I have to say, Mayor.
At this time, we're going to open up to comments from the mayor and city council. And I'm going to open up with a few remarks. The first thing I wanted to say is since I've been acting mayor, I've never been more proud of a group of citizens and people to come together in one community to try and overcome one issue. So it's been a humbling experience to serve as your mayor, and it's been a pleasure and an honor, and I've enjoyed it up to this point, and I look forward to hopefully serving for a long period of time. So I wanted to thank you all for coming out, and I see there's a crowd here tonight, but I'm certainly humbled by everyone's participation and attendance, and I look forward to hearing from any and all of you that want to speak. At this time, the other thing that I should probably note at this time is, and I'll wait and give you guys an update in terms of my experiences in terms of mayor and reaching out to some of the politicians, because I have spoken to a lot of the people that are going to be involved in this. So I think I'll reserve those comments for when we get to that particular agenda item. That having been said, I wanted to know if there were any comments from the rest of the council before we go into tonight's agenda, and I'll start with our Vice Mayor, Will Dittmer.
First, thank you all for coming out. We greatly appreciate the support you've given us. The reason why we run through this is obvious. You see, there are no $900,000 balloon payments. There's no $17 million of refinance that has come to an end. And the use of CRA funds to pay salaries is the #1 item. So that's why we put this together. So this is not about our finances. It's about them wanting our waterfront, our wells, and our property. That's what this is about. So thank you all for coming.
It has been my pleasure to serve for you people for the last 3 years, and I hope to continue to do that in the capacity and hold your trust. This is the reason why I sit up here, because we are doing the right thing for you every single day. We are supporting every resident here and every employee here and doing the best that we can within the letter of the law. So thank you for showing up.
I'd like to echo what was said previously. Thank you all for showing up. These voices here is what our representatives in state government are going to listen to come Friday morning and that's what they're going to respect. Not what we say up here, but you, the residents, speaking up and telling them your mind that you want to keep your city. So thank you.
As the newest council person, I like to say, wow, look at y'all. This is very awesome. Thank you all very, very much for your support, and we're going to be here to fight for y'all. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to move to the agenda, and I was going to seek to see if there's any motions to approve the agenda for this evening.
Motion to approve consent agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, we're going to move on to council business. The first item up for council business is going to be the discussion concerning Pasco County Legislative Delegation, which is going to happen on Friday, October 11th, and that's going to be 8 in the morning. At this time, before we get into the council discussing this, I want to open up the floor because really what's important in my mind is what you, the people, think. Whether it be for or against, I want everyone to be able to come up and speak freely about how you feel about the city and how you feel about what's going on with the city. That having been said, I'm going to start the top of the list, and I'm going to read the handwriting the best I can on some of these. Walter Franklin? Frankenfield, I'm sorry. Mr. Frankenfield, come on up.
Walter Frankenfield, 7552 Grand Boulevard, Norwich, Florida. Walter.
Test.
Nope.
We need to fix that. Said we need to fix that.
No,
No,
that's fine.
that's perfect.
No, that's what it's about. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it's about.
Don't worry, we'll reserve your full 3 minutes for technical difficulties.
Thank you very much for speaking.
I apologize, I have power, but I'm not getting any sound.
Can they speak into the mic at the end of the?
Yeah, of course.
We've got them over there.
Test one.
I haven't sat in one of these seats in a while. Anyway, Walter Frankenfield, 7552 Grand Boulevard, Port Richey, Florida. 2 months shy of a 34-year resident and business owner. I just came here tonight to, I usually listen online to most all these meetings. I don't attend many of them in person, but I would just basically like to thank City Manager Vincent Lupo, the Mayor, and our City Attorney, and all of you and the public for all of you've done in the past few days, especially today with your press conference. Phenomenal job, gentlemen. Thank you. Phenomenal. My family and I are definitely against the dissolution of this city, and we love our city. So, with that, that's all I have to say tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next person I'd like to invite up to, looks like our microphone, not necessarily the podium, is going to be Mary Beth Dittmer.
Mary Beth 753 Bay Boulevard. Can you hear me okay? Miss Amber Mariano made a decision to try to dissolve the city of Port Richey and have it absorbed into the county of Pasco. In her press release of September 30th, she stated that, along with the backing of Senator Hooper, that they would like to help the citizens of Port Richey. It is stated by both Mariano and Hooper that they would like to save the citizens of Port Richey tax dollars and assure us that our dollars are being spent efficiently, legally, and in our best interest. I would agree with both of them. As citizens, that is exactly what we would expect, what we would demand. She claims that the citizens of Port Richey could save 43%, or approximately $400 in taxes. Mr. Hooper says this will allow the residents of Port Richey to receive services through the county at a lower cost and much more efficiency. I would find that hard to believe, that we could do better than our current police force, fire department, and utilities department. Did Ms. Mariano and Mr. Hooper come to a meeting to speak with the citizens about our city? Did they reach out to us when the personal, not city, so-called scandals involving our then mayor and assistant mayor happened? Did they call our city manager to offer some support and guidance? I would suspect that they did none of these things. Instead of reaching out to us, the tax-paying citizens of Port Richey, and to our city council members, or the city manager, or the employees, Ms. Mariano reached out instead to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and accused our city manager of mishandling city funds. These funds that she claimed were mishandled were actually not mishandled at all. Had there been even the slightest indication of wrongdoing, the FDLE would have had to investigate. Had there been even, to date, there has been no such investigation. Instead, I would like all of my fellow citizens to know that the claim that she made to the FDLE regarding the city bonds was actually negotiated under the direction and approval of the Florida League of Cities, and as a result of these negotiations by our city attorney, Jim Mathau, the city will have saved $318,000 in interest. Thank you, Jim. When I first heard of Miss Mariano's plans, I must be honest, I thought, really, how ridiculous that such a proposal could be made without any input from the citizens. I am truly quite surprised that we are even having this discussion tonight. Ms. Mariano and Mr. Hooper, please know that we did not ask for your help, we do not need your help, and furthermore, we do not want your help. I would like to officially ask Ms. Mariano to remove this item from the agenda at the upcoming delegation meeting. Thank
The next person that I'd like to invite up to speak would be Caitlin Overbeck.
Can you hear me? Am I on? Caitlin Overbeck, Harbor Isles. It's going to be much shorter and sweeter than that. I just wanted to come here and say that I am against dissolution of Port Richey. I've been in the county and I appreciate the county services, Sheriff Naco, the county commissioners. However, I feel that if this was truly in the best interest of the citizens, it would have been discussed with us. It would have been front page newspaper. It would have been showing up at our committee meetings, at our council meetings. Hey, we can save you money. Let's plan this together. And instead, it was not that way. So I hope moving forward that everybody does see that we are strong. We're together. We're a tight-knit group, and we are just fine being the city of Port Richey.
Thank you. The next person that I would like to call to speak would be David Wood.
Wow, these are comfy. So, David Wood, 5516 Berlin Drive, Port Richey, Florida. Council, mayor, city residents, thank you all for your support and the quick reactions to this dissolution attempt. I've been a city resident for 36 years. My family has been here for 45. I am a second generation city employee. My dad worked for the city in the early 90s. My family and I have a lot at stake with this dissolution if it goes through. Not only us, all the utilities, members, public works, building, billing, finance and HR, and admin. Like I said earlier, my wife and I both work for the city. The county cannot guarantee jobs for us. If this dissolution goes through, how am I going to pay my mortgage, my car payments, and all my other bills that I may have? Which state representative or senator has room for a family of 5 if I can't pay my mortgage? Hopefully they have a place for my family to stay. I enjoy working for a small city. I know all the residents as I drive down the road. Having residents stop by the fire station, that's what's being a little city. They have the right to come there and see all that. So all I have to say is, Ms. Mariano, please remove this dissolution off dissolution of the city off the agenda of Pasco County Delegation meeting on Friday. Thank you.
Mr. Wood. The next person I'd like to call is Pat Rogers.
Pat Rogers, 4838 Sunset Boulevard. If anyone truly read the bill that she is submitting, it is full of innuendos, half-truths, and slander to our city. When their statement of saving us money, it's not going to happen because they will take all our assets, but we will get all the bills. They will divide the bills equally among all the citizens who own, well, all the people who own property, not necessarily the citizens. And each person will pay the same amount. I happen to have three little houses, and the one I live in is a little bit bigger house in the city, which means I would pay that 4 times. If someone only owns one house, they're paying 1, even if their house is worth millions and mine is worth less, all of them are worth less than 500. There's no savings there. Our insurances would go up because we would lose our city discount. Resale of your properties would be more difficult because you have a special taxation tagged onto your property. Realtors are not going to want to deal with that, and I'm a licensed realtor. So there's no way that this is good for the city. We're not saving anything. We're losing the support of our wonderful fire department, our police department, our city employees who we can talk to anytime. We can call up and we can talk to our employees. And that is worth so much more than anything they think they can offer us.
The next person that I would like to call to speak is Biddy Farmer.
Hello, my name is Biddy Farmer, and I am a resident of 6111 Cheers Drive, Port Richey, Florida, Suncoast Gateway Mobile Home Park. When George and I bought our place, we bought it because of the proximity of the city of Port Richey to our house. And we have the best police department and the fire department of anywhere I've ever lived in my life. Anywhere I've ever lived. We have a wonderful police chief, a wonderful fire department. I don't want to see anybody lose their jobs. Plus, in my personal opinion, they have another agenda for us, and it's not going to save anybody any money, and it's not going to help anybody that lives in Port Richey. They have another agenda because of the waterfront that we have in Port Richey and the things that we have from what I've read. And I hope Ms. Moreno, I will go Friday if I'm allowed to go. I will go because I feel like it's just, it's bad for all of us here. It's not gonna be anything good. The taxes are gonna be up, just like when everybody else says. But the fact that I live in a 55 or older community and the police department and the fire department are as close as proximity as they are to us is the reason we bought the place in the first place when we moved here from Kentucky. So I just pray that everything works out.
At this point, I'd like to call Red Satchel to the podium microphone.
Red Satchel, 8050 Brighton Drive, Port Richey. Mayor, council, it should be up to the taxpayers, not this county or the state to get rid of the sea. Furthermore, if they want trouble, you ought to start at Mexico Beach up there and help them people get out of tents, and never mind about the city of Port Richey. They don't even know where Port Richey is.
The next person I'd like to invite would be Steve Patton.
My name is Steve Patton. I live at 5213 Bay Boulevard, and I'm a special ed teacher here in Pasco County. Bought a house in January here and absolutely love it. Came and introduced myself to the chief first thing, and I've met the fire chief, the mayor, city manager helped me out when I got stuck with a leftover bill from somebody else, and I tell you, I love it here. I don't want it changed. I don't like what I heard. There's a lot of red flags. I want that item removed from the agenda, or her agenda, on Friday morning. And I want to say that this too shall pass. And Miss Mariana, Port Richey's here to stay. Your agenda is not. I really love it here.
At this time, I'd like to call Kenny Carter.
Kenny Carter, 8410 Hiram Drive. I had all these notes I was going to say on my phone. My battery died, and he took my notes. We are also new to the community. My wife and I, I'm retired military. I could have moved in, could have moved, thank you. We could have moved anywhere in the United States, and we looked. I lived in West Virginia. I was tired of the white stuff. We came down here and bought a place in March, and I can just echo exactly what he said. You know, I've met the chief, I've met some of the law enforcement, the fire department. The response time is ridiculous. I mean, before you can hang up the phone, they're there. We've seen this firsthand. Trust me, from West Virginia, I know about response times. You know, we do not have paid firefighters. We have all volunteers, and a response time is everything. The response time to my house, where we live at 8410 Hiram, is probably less than 3 minutes by law enforcement or fire department. If this goes to county, you can forget that. You know, no matter where they dispatch them out of, you're not going to have that kind of response time. It won't happen. Where she says she's going to save us money, if you listen to what the gentleman just read earlier, they've already saved us money, and lots of it. So they're doing a good job. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay true to the task. And one thing comes to mind when I heard this whole thing, the story of David and Goliath. You know, you are David. You will prevail in this. Port Richey is here to stay, and I also want this removed from the agenda on Friday.
The next person I'd like to invite is Margaret Grosskirth. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Good evening, everyone. Council, the mayor, and the public. I really appreciate everyone being here, and I thank you for the work you do. My name is Margaret Grosskirth. I live on 8201 Channel Drive, Port Richey, Florida. We've been here for 14 years, and we also thank the police, the fire department, and the utility department for all the work they do for us. And we found this little corner of the world, and we love it, and no one is going to take it away from us. Thank you.
The next person that I would like to invite would be Diane Cox.
I've never been good at this, but I feel like this has to be said. I'm speaking up today as the wife of a sergeant of the Port Richey Police Department. I'm speaking up for all the city workers, the police and the Port Richey Fire Department. I'm speaking up for all the family members of these workers that are going through this too with me. We are all family. I attended the meeting yesterday, and I just wanted to mention the pain I saw in all of the city workers' eyes yesterday at Waterfront Park. I was trying to keep a smile on my face, hug everyone, and stay completely positive. However, the pain caused from this interference, I couldn't imagine how they are giving their jobs their 100% from the importance of the city workers behind their desks and in their trucks, to two of the most frightening, scary, and yet heroic firefighter and police jobs already as it is. They have to carry this weight that's always in the back of their minds about the constant worry if they lose their jobs and how to pay, as Dave Wood said, who's a firefighter. Where am I? Sorry. Okay. They have to carry this weight that's always in the back of their minds about the constant worry if they lose their jobs and how to pay for their mortgage, car payments, better yet, families if this dissolution were to happen. To all the city residents, you're all amazing here. Your support for your city is beyond great. I mean, everyone was just starting to be happy, worry-free, and confident. Again, because we finally have an outstanding and strong city council, an outstanding city manager and mayor. Let's keep it that way. Leave the small city, beautiful city alone. Port Richey strong.
And this looks like Mr. Grosskirk. Chief, can you help him?
Let him sit at the chief's desk.
Yeah, sit over here.
Chief, put him in your chair.
Chief, put him in your chair.
Chief, put him right here.
Right here.
You can sit.
You can sit.
Hi, my name is Al Grosskirth, 8201 Channel Drive, Port Richey. I'm here to support the city and its endeavors. I wrote some notes here because I'm getting old and senile. First of all, I was, there goes my brains again. I was a snowbird. You come down in the winter and go up in the summer. I'm no longer a snowbird. I'm a frog. Why a frog? A frog comes to Florida to croak. But anyway, age gets to you and I I like the fact that I can phone somebody at the city and get a response and look them in the face. I just talked to the chief of police. You think I'm gonna be able to do that with the county? Forget it, it's not gonna happen. I also like the fact that we control our own destiny with garbage pickup and what the police can do and what the fire can do, firemen can do, and I enjoy that. They pick up the trash, and if we have a complaint, we can go to somebody in the city. We're not gonna be able to do that with the county. It's nice to be able to look the people that control our city in the eye and complain about it, or praise them. And that's about all I have to say. See, I told you they were gonna like that frog
That's the first time I ever heard that.
At this time, I'd like to call our next up person on the list, and that's going to be Beth Freger. Did I pronounce that right?
Yep, Freger, F-R-E-G-G.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'm Beth Freger, 8040 Island Drive. Good evening, Mayor, Council, City Manager, all of you fine people that work for us every single day, and everyone else in this room. I appreciate you, and I know that everyone here appreciates you. My husband and I have lived at 8040 Island Drive in Harbor Isles subdivision for over 33 years. I was a young bride when I first moved to this area. In fact, I've lived here since my address was 814 Island Drive. I don't know if anyone else remembers when all of our addresses were changed back in 1987. That's right. I've lived here when we were on septic tanks and did not have a city manager form of government. We raised our 2 girls here. We have come a long way since then, and I live here because of the sense of community that exists on every street in every neighborhood in our town. Having the police patrolling our streets multiple times every day and evening, night, 3 o'clock in the morning when you leave your garage door open and they ring your doorbell to let you know so you're safe at night. I doubt Sheriff Noko has his people doing that. I don't want to lose my time. And knowing them by name is very reassuring. I know firsthand how important it is to have our first responders a part of our community, as unfortunately I was in need of them 7 years ago. Our public works team and code enforcement team work hard so our city and community are neat and clear of debris on a regular basis. Also making it safe when there's high winds or high water. We now have a very capable council that I'm confident will maintain our lifestyle and sense of community and take us forward with new ideas and new ways to accomplish the goals of growing our city both commercially and residentially. I want it known that I am opposed to the dissolution of our city, and I ask Senator, or whatever she is, Mariano, to take it off the agenda on Friday, and I will be there to support us all.
like to invite Dave Williams as our next speaker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here tonight. I'm not a resident of this city at all. I live at 3216 Bayshore Boulevard Northeast in St. Petersburg, but I can tell you this is a great community. You all have to pull together to fight this, because this went on at St. Pete Beach. The chief there, Dave Romine, went on about 5 years ago. We lost it to the sheriff's office, and it was bad. The taxes went up. Your response time, you'll never get it again as you have now, I gotta tell you. To Chief DeCanio, this man, the last 3 years has improved this city so much, I gotta tell you. I come up here, with the NFL, with the Bucks. We come up here because we don't have this down there. We live in a different atmosphere. Your waterfront that you have now, you should cherish that, because you no longer will. This change takes place, you're not gonna have free parking, it's gonna be paid parking. Everything's gonna change. So you've gotta fight, you've gotta bond together, and what Mrs. Dittmer said, you nailed it. You hit it on the bat. I'm just telling you, and last 2 weeks ago, I gotta tell you this, and then I'll make it brief. When Hunter Garcia was in this accident with the fire department, this community got together. It was incredible. And at the funeral, I was there, I was upset. I know a lot of the firefighters, but to see Hunter come in and see that little casket, and your chief was there. He greeted me coming in, and that meant so much to me, I gotta tell you. And those firefighters saw that. So I gotta tell you, guys are gonna have to really stick together, you're gonna have to fight and pull together, and I will be here Friday. I was here last night. I had one of the famous celebrities. I had one of the great NFL players, Ronnie Gant, with me last night. He even said, David, I will come back to fight with them. So let me just tell you how this is. And last, but I gotta tell you, last but least, everybody had an important fact you attributed tonight. And I was there. I've done several ride-alongs with the Buccaneers up here. And I have seen that when they patrol the area. They lock up the gates tonight to the park. The people wave to them. They make their presence known. We don't have that in St. Pete. That's gone. So you let this happen, you're making a big mistake. You're gonna have to fight, and I mean fight hard. Because these police, the firefighters, it's not just them. What's like 63 people? It's way more than that. It's the families. While you're sleeping in your beds at night, they're on the streets, and I've seen it. Shootouts and everything else. So you're gonna have to really stick together. I thank you very much.
Mrs. McClary?
Sherry McClary, 8731 Betty Street, Port Richey. Mayor, council, residents, I just want to say we're new to the area, 2.5 years. I've lived in 3 different countries, including Switzerland and France. I've lived in many places in the US. I have never seen a community and the services of this Port Richey city. It is unbelievable. And I'd also like to say that we did have an issue when we first moved in with a fraudulent contractor. And I went to the county sheriff's department, and they told me, you're lucky if we get to this in 2 years. You better go to Port Richey, and guess what? That guy's going to jail for 12 years, thanks to this police department. What they did for us was unbelievable. And I just want to say I am against this. I want it removed from the bill, and I will be leaving my job on Friday morning to come and support the city. Thank you.
At this time, that's all that we have signed up, but there are a lot of people here, and I certainly want to take people that want to speak, and I'll call in order. I see Reverend Spaldi, and we'll start with her.
Sandy Spaldi, 8612 Green Street. I'm going to make it quick and easy. This city is an American dream. I was raised in a city, a big city, and all we could see was this wonderful little city that we all wanted to live in, where everybody knew each other and everybody was kind to each other. Well, Port Richey is that. I've lived here since '93. I've helped the city as much as I can through the years in different aspects. We have been blessed by God to keep this city, and I know God will protect us, and we have to band together. We have to become one unit and fight for it. And once we do that, no one can take this city away, because we can climb the ladder to higher ups if needed. But we must band together. Thank you. I'll leave you with that.
The next person I'd like to call is Nick Overbeck. And I apologize to you, Mr. Overbeck. I missed you earlier on the list. No, sir. I would not do that.
Nick Overbeck, Harbor Isles. Tensions are high, and people are upset about this, and I'm going to take a whole separate approach to that, and I want to start by thanking everybody. When we first moved to the city, within the first 2 weeks, Chief took us on a tour of the whole city, showed us the good, bad, the ugly, and really invited us into the city as a whole. I want to thank council for having to deal with this. We were on track to be moving the city forward, and now we have to put all that on, hiatus to deal with the matter at hand. I want to thank council, because I'm sure your plate's full and you're working overtime on this thing. I want to thank the chief's staff. I'm a habitual offender of leaving my garage door open, like was stated earlier, and I think his officers are so tired of seeing me in my underwear, they just shut my door for me now. I want to thank the fire department. I have 2 young kids that love going there, and every time they go there, they get to see the fire trucks. They get little FD at Port Richey hats, and they love their hats. They love seeing the fire trucks, and those are things that won't happen if we're dissolved. I also want to thank the public works people. We live in a city where our citizens are throwing them ice cream socials and stuff like that after work, on Fridays sometimes, amongst other things. That stuff won't happen if we're dissolved. I feel like I'm forgetting a whole bunch of people. Thanks, to Sal, who's held almost every job in this building, and people that have been here a while doing things. Thanks for the new council members that run in a city that had some issues, and even the candidates that ran. It shows that weren't elected. It shows the love for the city and everything. I want to go one further. I want to thank Amber Mariano, because I know it's not going to be well received, but I'd like to thank her for bringing us closer together as a city. Just like I think people have all gotten together, and there's a citizens meeting yesterday where not one person was thrilled about her decision to do a backdoor political deal to potentially dissolve us, when nobody has been showing that we have wanted that. So thank you, Amber, for bringing us all together as a community, and hopefully we'll get past this and we'll all be able to see each other again at the next meeting. So that's all I have. Thank you, everybody.
The next person that I'd like to call is Candy Snell.
Don't really need a microphone. I think everybody can hear me, but I'll sit anyway. My parents built a house at 657 Beach Drive in 1963. It is now 5134 Limestone Drive. I inherited it, purchased it from her estate when she passed away 5 years ago. I want to say, when there was an emergency with her and I arrived at the house, it took less than 3 minutes for 3 response teams to show up. When I'm at that house now, I see every single day a presence by the city of Port Richey. I also have a house in the county at 8444 Thrasher Court. It is a dead-end street. It's by Ridge and Little, and not once in 8 years have I seen a county representative. No sheriff's department has been in there. A fireman came in for my neighbor who has terminal cancer just a couple of nights ago, and their fire truck went to the end of the street not knowing it was a dead end. That is something that our county should be ashamed of. Our garbage men there have to back up. Here, we have wonderful services, and I'm not kidding. We see them on a daily basis in Port Richey. I appreciate the work that you all do. Yes, I did meet Johnny Cash when I was 12 years old on the dock where Whiskey River is. Right now, the dock has been replaced, but I saw Johnny and June, and I was with another person who is still living in that area, Buddy Corman from Corman's Landing. We were with our parents at the time, and I have to say, it's the neighbors. I have neighbors calling me if there's an issue at that house. That doesn't happen anywhere else. Most of my neighbors will say hello or wave. Some of them don't at the other house that's in the county. This is a close-knit community. I don't know everybody, but I want you to know me. My name is Candy. Bye. I hope Amber listens to this and removes this from the ballot. Otherwise, she will be facing a removal herself.
I'm going to do my best with the handwriting on this one. It's Gasparini. Mr. Gasparini.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't really want to get up here and speak, but I'm just overwhelmed at the support that this community came together, how they came together to combat this. And I just want to say, my wife and I don't live in the city, but I've been a business owner here. We own Safeguard Insurance Pros on 8106 US 19. Been in business in Port Richey for 15 years, so I'm got very strong ties to this community. And we had some real issues with my building, contractor error. We had to fight them for 3 years. And I got to tell you, working with the city, working with this gentleman here, Dallas, you know, you guys really care about the residents and the business owners. You care about moving this community forward, you know, making some great changes, really beautifying the place. And, you know, for several years, things were kind of a little rocky, and I thought maybe I should move my business out of the area. I'm so glad I stayed. The improvements that I'm seeing and the way the council members are working together to move this thing forward, the timing is unbelievable. That just as things are really moving and progressing forward, that they would throw this monkey wrench in it and try to disrupt the progress that we're making. So kudos to you. That's all I've got to say. Thank you for your time.
The next person that I'd like to invite to speak is Lori Simpson.
Lori Simpson, 5006 Sunset Boulevard. I've been here for 25 years, and I live on Sunset, and I've also seen John and Junie walking around the neighborhood. And I've always loved our city and always loved our police and fire. I've always been very supportive, and I was just so glad to see our city come together, because over the years, we've been divided by lies, and finally everybody has seen the light. We've come together, and we have 5 great people on council that are actually working for the city instead of against it, and I want to thank you all, and I want to tell Amber, take this off the agenda.
The next person that I'd like to call is Faith Bavari. Bevan, I'm sorry.
Hey guys, my name's Faith Bevan. I have owned a home at 8341 Carolyn Drive since 2002. I've also owned a business at 7711 Grand Boulevard, 2005, yoga. So, anyway, it was love at first sight when I drove down Bay Boulevard for our house in Carolyn Drive when we bought it. Two of my neighbors are here with houses, and they can say the same thing. One of the biggest things that as a society now that we worry about, we complain about, is there's nobody to talk to. Think about your last doctor visit. Did the doctor look at you? Did they talk to you? Did they spend time with you? What about the last time you had a problem and you needed to call about that? Press 1 for this, press 5 for this, press 9 for that. Then press your account numbers. If you don't have your account number, give your social security number, whatever, and then you get disconnected. Am I right? Right? You got a problem, you go up here. They know you. They know where you live. They have a smile. You got a problem. They're there. We cannot let this debacle, this person, I'm not even going to call her a miss because I have some other words I could call her. We can't let them do that to us. This is one of the last vestiges that we have to be people, to be citizens, and not just a number in their mire of mess. We have something that they want, and I think we all know what it is, right? This is underhanded, and if it wasn't so miserable and horrible, it would be laughable. But it's not, because they've got the power, and we can't let them take over that power and control. So, city, we got to be together, and we can't let them do this. That's all I have to say. Thank you, City of Port Richey.
The next person that I'd like to call is Liz O'Brien Phelps.
I'm Liz O'Brien and Phelps, and we live on Carolyn Drive. And none of you moved to a small city by accident. We all chose this. And for somebody who works for us in government to tell us that they feel like they know what's right for us and that what we have by choice isn't the correct thing isn't fair. I don't even understand how somebody could make a decision like this for us without asking us what we wanted. We live here. We pay for these services. We love the fact that we have fire and police that are there for us immediately. And we're not going to get that if this happens. And it's a very scary thing. We made a decision to live here. We made a decision to live here because we have these services and because we are treated this way. And for somebody else to come in and say, I know what's best for you, and you know, we're all going to county, I don't feel that that's fair. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this time, I've exhausted my secondary list. Mrs. Burke, come on up.
Lisa Burke, Washington Street. I could go over and over everything that everybody has already said, but what I really want to talk about is Friday is super important. So number one, if you can be there Friday morning, please be there. In between now and Friday morning, if you can contact all those members of the delegate, call them, call their offices. If you get a recording, call again. Just keep calling until you can get through to them and tell them what you think. Tell them your opinion. They are actually marking down who is calling in and what they're saying. So this is very important. We can all keep working together by working together. So we need to do what we can between now and Friday, and then make an appearance on Friday as a team, as Port Richey Strong. Thank you, everything that you've been doing. We appreciate it. We know you're working hard, and thank you.
Are there any other people of the general public that would like to speak to this issue? And it's hard to see because there's people spilling out into the hallway, so if there's anyone that's out in the hallway that wishes to speak, come on up, sir.
Good evening. My name is Terry Brosnan. I live at 8251 Brent Street. I retired from the New York City Police Department after 20 years. Could have moved anywhere, just like you. Bought in to Port Richey, city of Port Richey, 3 years ago. And my wife and I decided that this was Mayberry. And we're here to stay. Sorry, Chief.
At this time, if there's any other members of the general public, come on up. Yes, sir.
My name is Steve St. John. I live at 8720 Betty Street. I've got 2 or 3 addresses, but I'm a resident for almost 40 years in the city. And I also own a business just outside the city limits. And I am firsthand knowledgeable about the response time between the county and the city. And it's like everybody says, it's night and day. Yep. And one other thing I've noticed is our city is like an island surrounded by high crime areas. And the county is not doing much about the high crime areas, but the patrols in the city keeps all of that away from us. We don't have those same problems. My business just outside the city limits, and my neighbors there are considered by the county a high crime area. So we're like an island, and it's because of our police presence here. And I just want to thank our city for that, because if we go into this county, that's going to all come to us, decrease our real estate values, and our safety won't be the same as it is now. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the general public that would like to speak on this particular agenda item? At this time, what I wanted to do is open it up for council and myself for some general discussion. Before I do that, one of the people that's important in this particular issue is our Senator, Ed Hooper. I can tell you that I've talked to Senator Hooper multiple times since this has happened. I can tell you that his position was, at the time that he agreed to sponsor this bill, our city was in shambles. Our mayor and vice mayor were both in jail, and we had a barely functioning government. And that's why he originally agreed to sponsor this bill. At this time, he certainly is valuing everyone's input, as I believe at the time that he sponsored the bill, he didn't realize by the time this thing came about that the city would be moving together in such a positive direction, and he didn't, I think, realize that we would rebound so quickly, not only politically as a group of people, but as a community. One of the things that he's doing now, which is important to him in my conversations with him, is he wants input from you. He's not here tonight, he had other obligations, but he'll watch this. He's watched all the other things that have come out on the news. He's reviewed our documents very closely. But I wanted to give you a phone number if you guys are prepared to take it down, because you are welcome to call tomorrow and give your address and your name and vote, either for or against the dissolution of the city. And I encourage everybody to reach out, as I believe it's important for our senator, who originally sponsored this bill, to know where we are as people, and where we are as a community. The phone number is 727-771-2102. And that's for Senator Ed Hooper's office.
One more time.
And I'm going to repeat it. It's 727-771-2102. And again, that's Senator Ed Hooper's office. He does have staff that has been taking phone calls, and certainly he's keeping a close eye on what happens between now and potentially Friday. The other thing I would like to note about Senator Hooper is he went on a political talk show recently, I think it was Sunday, and that aired. It's called Political Connections. I don't know how many of you viewed that political show, but he went on TV for the public and everyone to view and indicated his concerns at the time and where he's at now. And certainly, seeing the progress of the city and hearing the voice of the people, I think he's starting to reconsider his position. And it's important for attendance on the 11th as well, if he goes that far, which I imagine we may be there, because he certainly does want to hear from everybody. Not only to call in the office, but for your attendance, which is going to be on the 11th. That's this Friday. So I just wanted to kind of post that message to everybody. And then now that I've talked about the part where you had to have pens out, on a personal note, I've been an attorney here locally for 15 years. And I've only been able to help one family at a time in my legal practice. I ran for this position because it gave me an opportunity to be not only part of a community, but to help the masses, to help the people. And I felt that you guys have really banded around me and helped me do that. That having been said, this is probably the longest hours I've ever worked in my life. And this was supposed to be a part-time gig. And I've responded to the media as best I can, for you, the people, for the general public. I've been on the phone with different representatives, different lobbyists. I've spoken directly to all three senators. I spent an hour with Senator Lee, who actually went to my same high school over in Brandon High School. So we both grew up in the same area. And I've shared our position. And the reason that I've been so diligent in doing that is because the truth is what we need to stand on in this issue. We were blindsided Monday by basically a press conference and then a representative who went in the media and shared what I believe to be false information and what we've shown to be false information in terms of our budget, in terms of our financial stability, and in terms of our integrity as a council and as a mayor. You know, the allegations that we, the new council, spending money illegally and being corrupt is certainly fairly offensive to me as a longstanding person in the community and a longstanding attorney in the community. I value my bar license, I value my law practice, and certainly those allegations were shocking to me. That having been said, one of the people that I spent a lot of time with this week, and please hold your judgment, is I met with Amber Mariano, and I spent some time with her. And I brought all our financial records, and I brought everything that she had spoken to. And to be honest with you, I think it was the first time that she had seen a copy of our records and our documents from our city. So that having been said, the reason that I did that is not to necessarily confront her. Humbly, I disagree with her position. I believe that it's we the people that should determine where we want to pay our taxes and who we want to pay our taxes to. And if we want to pay a little bit in extra taxes for services, I believe that's our God-given right. She said your city was created by legislative act back in 1925, and we, the legislature, can undo your city by legislation, and that's my God-given right as the legislature. So that was her position when I spoke to her. So that having been said, You know, I think it's important that we band together as people, because this isn't just about our city. This is about our country and our state. And where we are politically, to have small amounts of people with power that can bully communities is certainly something that I took a personal stance against. And that's why I've worked so diligently, because my personal belief is that this isn't something that's appropriate, and it's something that I personally detest, to be honest with you. I don't think anything about it is right morally, or legally for that matter in some ways. And so that having been said, you know, fortunately we have 5 other members that are going to vote on this, 3 senators and 2 other representatives. And I can tell you that none of those other representatives or senators has any motives to harm our city, and that the information that they've received was some misinformation, I think, from Representative Mariano. So that having been said, that's why I wanted to inform you guys where we're at, what my efforts have been, and that to reserve judgment on some of the other politicians that have been involved in this, because in all fairness, I don't think that they were given proper information. That having been said, they are very interested in what, not just what I say, because I'm a citizen here as well, but they want to know what the masses are saying, and I think that's where we're at. And I encourage you, like I said, to reach out, call that number, tell Ed Hooper's staff where you're at in terms of either the dissolution or not dissolving the city. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But before I do that, I wanted to pass this discussion on to other members of the council. And I'll start with our Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. We should not be in a position where we're defending our choices as a city. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. This is nothing more, as I stated before, a power grab. We have what they want. We have the lowest millage rate at 5.75 anywhere around, with the police department and the fire department. The Newport Richey, I believe, is at 8.75. Just to give you an idea, they want what we have. Nothing to do with the numbers. We proved the numbers are false, and I don't think we should have to defend ourselves against these people. So get there on Friday and show them that we mean business.
This is an example of what's going to happen to this country if we start letting our politicians run all over us. You all are standing today proving that they are not going to be able to do this, and I hope you continue to do that. Make your phone calls. We can do that at the polls, and that'll hurt him more than anything else, is to hurt him at the polls. I agree, but we need to stand up for our rights as citizens. We need to stand up for the government that we've believed in since we were small children, and how we grew up here. Make your phone calls. Show up Friday if you can possibly get off work and do it. Let these people know how you feel. You guys have done this before. I've seen you do it. You can do it again. So thank you.
I honestly don't think I can add to anything anyone has said here more. You've all done a wonderful job of explaining your positions and your support for the city, and just coming together to defend your home. This is about a voice, your voice in government. Obviously, the state representatives don't care about your voice, or else they would have asked you before they started this whole thing. They would have come to council and heard our opinions and gotten your voice through us. They don't care about your voice, so you have to make them hear your voice, and you have to tell them and stand up strong that you are supporting your community, because that's the only way they're going to change. So again, please reach out to all the senators, all the representatives, not just Mr. Hooper, but everybody, and let them know. Even contact Gus Bilirakis, the governor, anyone who will listen. And that's how you will save your city. Thank you.
we have a lot of work to do in a very short period of time. Literally, we only have 2 days left to really get out there and push. I feel very fortunate to be here. I love this city. I moved here because my wife and I, we moved here because we wanted to. When I started running for city council, and I met a lot of citizens here, and I couldn't believe the love and the passion that the residents have. And the more I met them, the more my love for the city grew. And I don't want it taken away from us. I will fight to the very end. And like I said, got 2 days, a lot of work, a lot of phone calls, and then Friday morning, let's show up and show them that we are here. We're here to fight. And again, thank you all for coming out. Thank you all very much.
Well, you can tell them what the budget amount, 12,300,000.
And the other thing just to consider is, we've talked about our love for the city, but one of the things that I've been doing all week is defending our position. And one of the things that had been said about the city was the financial instability. But when you look inside the numbers, it's just not about that. We have a almost $12.5 million budget. Less than 3% of our budget is debt. And nobody around the local area can say that. You know, we really are operating as well as you can financially. We have many assets, waterfront property, well field, wells, this building, property assets, over right around 20 million, I think is what I saw. And our total debt is less than 2.5 million. So for the legislature to come in under the guise that they're gonna rescue us from this terrible financial hardship that we are in right now, I think is not correct. And I have done the best I can do to bring that to light. And I have utilized the media. And I have done that in good faith and been as honest with them as I can be. So I wanted to bring that out because certainly, you know, the media has been very friendly to our city. And I think that they can see that this is what the people want. So with that, I just wanted to leave you with that and tell you that I will continue to work as hard as I can for you. I'll continue to bring the truth to light. And I can't wait to see everyone on the 11th.
I have a question, and I don't think I need a mic, but the question is, would a petition of people that cannot attend this meeting on Friday, would that hold anything?
It's circulating online. I saw it. There were
Over 700.
700.
We have over 700 signatures so far.
Legally. Sure. Sure.
If I could get a link to that, I would appreciate it.
I want to tell them about assets.
Okay.
If I,
Online, you can get a link sent to you by email, or you can get it through Facebook.
Not everyone in my community is on Facebook.
And I'll recognize you in a moment, sir.
So if we could go around door to door and get them to sign it, that would be amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
you know, if I could, for just a moment, I know it's long already, but I want to simply state to all of the citizens of Port Richey, you have two primary assets. The city and the residents have two primary assets. The first one is monetary. Our books and our audit show that you have assets in excess of $16 million. Why would you want to give that up?
Right.
But that's only money. You have another asset. You have approximately 63 employees who are dedicated to serving you. They know many of you by first name. They put their lives on the line for you. Fire, police. Our utility workers, you have a problem, you call. They're there. That's another asset. And in my way of thinking, far beyond the 16 or 17 million dollar financial asset is the employees. They love you, and I believe they know you love them, and that's important. Friday. Be there Friday morning. The legislators should understand your love for the city. That's all I have to say.
And I had one person that I missed on the general comment, so I was going to allow.
I'm a little confused. I just have two questions and a brief statement. My first question, if the city is disbanded at all, and it becomes the county, all the votes and all this, what ward would that actually end up falling into?
Yeah. Mr. Mariano.
It fall under Jack Mariano.
It would fall under that's Amber's father.
Correct.
My second question.
Nope.
Isn't that a conflict of interest?
My second
You would
question
think.
was, we have approximately $16 million in certified assets, with approximately $2.5 million in debt.
Yes.
I bid $3 million.
Yes, sir.
My last statement, I think you guys have done a wonderful job. I own a lot of real estate in this community, and not live in the city of Port Richey, but I have several properties and businesses here. And I would trade the city for anywhere else that I own property. You guys-
At this time, we're going to move on to our second agenda item, and that's going to be the first reading of ordinance 19672 regarding rules of debate.
I'll take that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I'll give him a second. It was time. You know what I'm saying? If you kept going, it was gonna question
It
the
is
answer.
after 9 o'clock.
That's right.
Some of us see
That
citizens
was great.
do it better.
That was the most amazing meeting I've ever attended, what?
Spot on.
No, that's the best meeting I've ever attended. I've done this 17 years. That was just great.
You gotta get down.
After all kinds, they tried to close it twice before. This is much better. You know what I mean? These people.
Oh, the
But-
Fernando.
Before everyone leaves, I wanted to make a general announcement about the address to where we're going to go if you want to attend on October 11th.
Flyers outside.
Yeah, the flyers are out front,
Flyers
if
are out
anybody
front.
want to pick up some information about the meeting on Friday.
And we have flyers out front exactly for those addresses for those who want to attend. Thank
Friday.
you.
You ready, Matt? You ready?
Yes.
Everyone ready? Okay. I presume all council members knows what this first reading is. This is the rules of debate. I did not take anything out of the city code. I just added what's underlined. This will be the first reading by title only of ordinance number 19-672, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Port Richey, State of Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, City Council, Division 3 Meetings, Section 2-76, Rules of Debate, and providing for severability, inclusion in code, and an effective date. Looking for a motion.
Motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 19-672.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. We're going to move on to the third item on the agenda. And that's going to be the first reading of ordinance 19673 regarding the meeting time. And I'm going to pass that to our city attorney, Mr. Matthew.
Okay, this is, once again, I guess for the new council member, when something's added to a code, it's underlined, and when something's omitted, it's stricken through. As you can see, we've changed the time of the meeting. This would be the first reading by title only of ordinance number 19-673. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Port Richey, State of Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 2, Administration, Article 2, City Council, Division 3 Meetings, Section 2-66, Regular Meetings, Time and Place, providing for severability, inclusion of code, and an effective date. Looking for a motion.
Motion to approve first reading of ordinance 19-673.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Going to move on to the next item. That's going to be the consideration of an automatic aid agreement with Newport Richey Fire Department.
At issue, sir, is for City Council consideration is an agreement for mutual aid between the Fire Department and the Port Richey and Newport Richey. The agreement would allow for mutual aid for the provision of the services between the departments in each municipality. The action requested is a motion to approve the automatic aid agreement with Newport Richey Fire Department.
Is there any discussion and or motions on this particular issue?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the automatic aid agreement with Newport Richey Fire Department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is going to be boards and committees nominations. And I'm going to open that up for Mr. Lupo to introduce.
Boards and committees, there's an attachment in your agenda book to explain the number of boards and committees that we have, and there are vacancies currently on that board, and we're looking for council to consider whom they would like to choose for those vacancies. The most critical at this stage is the Board of Adjustments, which is absolutely critical, and I'd like to move forward if council has any individuals they would like to propose. Sal, if you would please, our city clerk.
We also have 3 additional citizens who are asking to be on boards and committees. Bill Colombo would like to be nominated for the Board of Adjustment Committee. Kenny Burke would like to be nominated for the Comprehensive Land Use Committee. I also have Sherry Scherer, who would like to be nominated for our CAC or our Planning and Zoning Board Committee. At this time, with the one nomination that we have for the CAC, both of those boards would be at capacity. So the other 2 gentlemen, the boards that they're requesting to be on do have vacancies at this time.
I would like to approve the nomination of Linda Rodriguez to Citizens Advisory Committee, Bob Reed to the Board of Adjustment, Kenny Burke to Comprehensive Land Use Committee, Sherry Scherer to Board of Adjustment, and Bill Colombo to Board of Adjustment.
Second.
Before we vote, first of all, these are important functions for our city. There hasn't been a discussion because I think we all know who these folks are and what they do in our community. As we do have a tight-knit community, we certainly, as we sit up here, know who all these individuals are. However, I wanted to open it for any comments or questions to the public before we approve any of these nominations. Reverend Spalding, please.
Speak loud, how's that?
Yes, ma'am.
Sandra Spalding, 8612 Green Street. Personally, and having experience on many boards and many committees, if people sign up for the committees, they are willing to work for them. They're willing to put time and effort into it. It's a no-brainer. And I'm going to give you
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Before we go, I see Pat Rogers.
Pat Rogers, 4838 Sunset Boulevard. As vice chair of the Board of Adjustments, I will be pleased to have a board where we can have meetings together. We are very short term, and I think all of these people and their different choices are good picks.
And for Board of Adjustments, we just had Bill Colombo was the one that we, what was the,
Bill Colombo and Sherry Scherer.
for the
And
board?
Board of Adjustment.
And Bob Reed.
And Bob Reed. Yeah.
There are 3 vacancies.
There are 3 vacancies.
3 vacancies. Actually 4.
Because I wanted to have some discussion. I know that there's someone that has run recently in our community, if I may, for discussion. And someone who's been active in our community and served the best he can. And I wanted to include him on that nomination, particularly either amend the motion. But we have Joe Parisi, who is willing to serve. He has a rich background as law enforcement, and he served up there. He's retired down here, and he's someone that I think that would be good to serve on the Board of Adjustment in particular. And one of the things that I'd like to say is I think that he would do a tremendous job with that particular position. That having been said, I think I see 4 vacancies.
There are 4 vacancies?
Yeah, there are 4 vacancies, so we can.
So I wanted to see if we could amend the motion to include him.
We can just do a secondary motion too.
Like
Yeah, you
to,
can do another motion after.
Yeah, we can put another
But-
motion up.
But just pointing out that Dennis Cap happens to be my neighbor, is resigning after the next meeting. It's right there.
Okay.
So if you have too many people, you're gonna need 5.
Okay.
Can't
So
vote for that one now, but I'm just telling you.
So we have 3, and at some point we're gonna need 5, so what I'd like to do, we have a motion and a second on the floor, we've already had discussion. Are you guys ready to put it to a vote, or is there?
I have one more.
Okay.
To add too. I think Chris Leeds was for the Port Authority that was put up by Carl Roth. I saw that in an email.
Oh, yeah, I saw that as well.
So if that's the case, I know we have an opening in that position. I spoke to Mr. Roth earlier today, so I'd like to add that nomination then to Chris Leeds to the Port Authority.
Well, let's circle this one through and then add
Then we'll
the
add
other 2.
We'll do a separate motion.
Yes, sir,
for
I
the
just
other
wanted to
two.
get him on there.
Okay. That having been said, if there's no further discussion on the motion, right now we have a valid motion. We have a second. Everyone's spoken that I can see, so at this time I'd like to put it to a vote. And before I put it to a vote, I just wanted to, for the record, clarify who's for what board, and then we can vote. And I didn't know who had,
I've got it written now.
okay, thank you.
Okay, we've got Linda Rodriguez for Citizens Advisory Committee, Bob Reed for Board of Adjustment, Bill Colombo, Board of Adjustment, Joe Parisi, Board of Adjustment, Chris Leeds, Port Authority, and Kenny Burke for Comprehensive Land Use. Sherry, I'm sorry, Sherry.
And-
Well, I was trying to put them together. Board of Adjustment.
So what I'm gonna do is, I think the 2 that weren't added in the original motion and seconded were Joe Parisi, and then was it?
Chris Leeds.
Chris Lee, okay.
Leeds.
Leeds.
L-E-E-D-S, I believe.
It's Councilman Sorrell's motion, she can amend it if she wanted to.
I'd like to amend it to include Joe Parisi for Board of Adjustment and Chris Leeds for Port Authority.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
At this time, we're gonna vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Filled our boards.
That's it?
And at this time, there's any old business to come before?
I think it's late enough.
Yes, ma'am? Any motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.